All right, so here they are. I got some Wayfinders here for, some anonymous client up north, keeping with our anonymous series going here. Those who we cannot mention. We got some Wayfinders here. We got one big main one, pushing like 10 feet tall, big old boy. And then we've got 5 smaller ones. Relatively smaller. They're still pretty big. So the whole idea is that I started with the main one here, with the big one. And this particular file is going to have all the descriptions. It's going to have all basically how it all goes together, very clear. And then in order to save time and not duplicate a lot of stuff, the smaller one is literally just smaller, but it's got a lot of the same parts. It's all going to go together pretty much the same way. It's just everything's sort of minimized in size. So I'll just point out a few different things. So I know Route doesn't really watch these, but if you could encourage Route to do the main one first, get everything routed for the main one. That way you can focus on the main one first. Plus you'll be getting like one sign done. And while you're building this, then he can start routing all the components for the other 5, rather than trying to take all 6 on at once and then just having a bunch of parts for all 6 and randomly. And that way, when it comes time to do the other 5, you'll have your eye in for sure. And everything you've done with this one will pretty much apply to the other 5. So that way it'll be pretty clear for you guys. So that's my suggestion. So let's get after it. Let's go over the lay of the land here real quick. So we got some 1/4-inch parts. Again, this will be for the main one, but you'll also have all your parts for your 5 smaller ones. So we've got mounting plates. They're just a little bit bigger, but yes, we are talking YJ Structural wanted those at 5/8. And we got 1/8-inch. We've got 1/8-inch kind of main directory panels that'll hang, but we'll go over that. So look for these parts here. We got some panel braces. Now you got this little rod mount. This is 1/8-inch as well, but I want to make sure that this gets like called attention to. I don't want this to get lost, but it'll essentially be with the 1/8-inch panels there, but I want to make a separate page just so you know that exists. And that will live with this little guy here. But you got this here. This is your panel brace. Now, these are the removable shells that go over the internal square tubing. We're going to go over all that, but look for this. You got jigs. You got all these various parts. Everything's labeled. And then you got your main sort of hard candy shell that's going to go over the internal. And I put all the skins separately there, so everything's marked. You'll see it all good. Okay, so what you're going to have is essentially like an internal, this looks like a real estate sign here, but you're going to have an internal frame of square tubing here. Now, YJ called out 6 by 6 by 1/4. So it's definitely no joke. This thing's going to be just this part here comes in at 105. That's just like this part and this part here. So with this part here and this part, you're going to be looking, yes, definitely just in tubing alone, 110 pounds. So keep in mind when you're building this thing, like where you build it and kind of make sure it supports its own weight. Okay. Cause you're going to have the hard 090 candy shell, but just make sure nothing gets dented or, how it supports itself. So anyway, what's important, there's a few things you got to make sure you don't get ahead of. You want to make sure you build it in the proper order. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to assemble it properly. So let's go over that order now. So starting with the cut list here, let's talk about that. You've got some tubing that you want to pay attention to. It's really these small guys here. So for the small ones as well, you're going to have the same tubing. It's just going to be a different size. So maybe when you get, or it's the same size tubing, it's just a different length, I should say. And there's more of it, obviously, So, but you want to make sure that maybe once you have that out and you're at the saw, go ahead and cut all of these. But the important thing is, again, I'm going to stick with the main one. What I do for the main one, you'll be repeating, it's just smaller. So you'll have 2 3-inchers that are longer, and you'll have one that, it's 1/4 inch shorter. Now, all of these panels are going to have 3 kind of attachment points for these panels. So if you look at it from a side view, you're going to have the panels are in purple. They're going to be 1/8 coming down here. They're going to be lords, and they're going to come down here. So the idea is, and I think you might have seen me do this, but there's this 1.5-inch tube, You're going to take, we're bringing in some 3/4 inch nuts, steel nuts. You might zing them a little bit, but I think this will work out okay in the press. You're just going to press fit the nut right into the tube. And then that way, that's going to give us the ability to receive some 3/4 inch nuts right there. So that's going to give us a nice decorative look. Those nuts are going to, like I say, you might zing them a little bit or maybe just hit it with a little bit of lube, and then you'll be able to smash it in there. You can see where just that little bit right there is going to be, overlapping the aluminum. But again, I think you might be able to press that in there pretty good. If not, give it a zing. And then once you have these guys, so you're kind of working your way out the small all the way out. So you get these 2 3-inchers, set those aside, you're done with those. Those just get painted and those will basically get assembled in the field. It's the shorter one here that you got to worry about. This is the 2 3/4. Then on the smaller ones, you're going to have the 2 1/4. So get those all, get all these pressed up and nice. So first and foremost, you're going to make the panel brace. That's what I'm calling it. The panel brace is the one attachment point for the panels themselves, and then they attach to the vertical trunk here, the hard candy shell. So you got to get this built first. So the idea is that it's 100% full jig on the inside, and then what you're going to do is once you get that 2 1/4 or 2 3/4 one built, you're going to slide it into the jigs here, and you're going to center it right in the middle. And then you can see where the face is actually going to be, the hole is smaller. So the face is going to sort of trap it in there. So go ahead and get this assembled. And yeah, there it is. So you can see where this is the jig here. And then you can see how much it'll stick out on both sides, but it's shy of the face, the actual face you're going to lords on, that face there. So you'll have a little spot for lords. Maybe you center it well. You can maybe put a tack right there because you don't want this thing to spin, obviously. So we're going to be attaching a bolt or a nut and a bolt right there. So you don't want it to spin. So you want to make sure this is good, but you see how much pocket you have there, obviously about an 1/8 or 0.90 right there. So you're going to slide that tube. You're going to maybe tack it or lords it and then lords all the way around. And then you can go ahead and put your faces on there. And your faces, again, you can see where the tube will be there. It's going to trap it and it'll be ready to receive it. So once you get this whole assembly built, like I say, first starting with this, get this in there. I got clear instructions right there. So if you forget, but you go ahead and lords all in there real well. And then once this thing's made, you'll see where it's going to screw and it's going to lords and screw to the inside of the hard candy shell. So I have provisions for a couple clecos here, and that way it's going to be lined up nice. So now the next step is once you get the panel brace made, and I reiterated it a lot just so you don't forget, because once the tubing goes in there, you're not going to have any room to assemble this. So before you put the tube in there, you want to make sure that you lords and screw this on to the frame. So go ahead and get the frame built, get it all assembled, get it all ready. And then go ahead and screw and lords this brace on there. And then once you have this frame built, then do not skin it yet. You're not going to skin anything till the end. Then you're ready to slide in your tubes. So now you're going to take your 6x6 tubes. You got your 78 and your 109. Now I would probably go ahead and weld on your plates at this point. So you got your gussets, your 1/4 inch gussets per YJ, and then you have your 5/8 plate. So you're just going to burn, baby, burn, make sure that's nice and strong. And then once that's all set, you're going to slide your top one in first. You're going to slide it in. I got this open right here. Got it all set for you. You're going to slide that in. And then these are your measurements. You got 51 and 17. Make sure you got stick out from the hard candy frame. And then what you're going to do is slide this guy up. You'll have plus or minus 4 inches. I think with the plate and everything, it might be a little tiny bit less. But anyway, so once you get this, again, don't forget this. And then slide this up, bonk it. Now, because it's going to be within the frame, you can't access any of these junctions. So you're going to have to rely on this plate system. So there's going to be a 1/4 inch plate. And you're going to go ahead and make sure that you're an 1/8 inch down so you can get a really good fillet weld across the top. And that way it ties into the webbing. And then you're going to burn it all the way down here. You'll have access across here to this seam. So you can burn this seam and close this up really well. and then make sure you go across here. And also right here, you can fill it onto the web of the actual tube there. So again, just make sure this thing is super welded up, because that's really the only place that this can attach. Because again, you don't have access anywhere else because of the framing. So once this is in there and once this is all burnt, then you're good to go as far as this part. Everything else is going to be temporary, so there's nothing else to really attach to this. Again, leave the skin off right now. And then once you have this, basically once you have it available to yourself, take these templates. So look for these drill templates. And the whole idea is that you're going to have these removable top slide-on boxes. So if you look at like this right here, this is going to be a removable slide-on box. And then this whole assembly back here is also going to be a removable slide-on box. So, so what you want to do is, you see where the red is, you're going to have 3 riv nuts on the front part here on this 6x, and you're going to have 2 riv nuts going down the middle of that 6x. So in this view here, you can see where you got to put a riv nut here. That's going to basically hold on. This whole 6x6 assembly is going to slide onto that tubing, or the 8x8 assembly. So in order to do that, I gave you drill jigs. So you've got your front F this way, you've got post over here, and you've got post over here. So you're just going to line this up. This is 51 inches, bonk it against the frame, and then bonk this one against the frame here, and then go ahead and drill your holes. Start with your 5/32 pilot. And then for 5/16 steel riv nuts, you've got 17/32 final. So go ahead and take these out, and then go ahead and squish in your riv nuts. They're only on the top. So that's all you need, is just the three right here. Boom, boom, boom. And then you got the 2 here. So that'll be it for that. And then theoretically, you can set this aside for the moment. Again, I don't want to get too ahead, and we don't want to put skins on just yet. We want to make sure everything's all jiving first. But I think you're pretty much done with that. And then you can concentrate on making these removable boxes. So, and then from here, like I say, it's not that difficult. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So you're just going to put this together like sort of a little box. You've got yourself jigs on the front, jig on the back, and then the internal one is like inside. There's no jigs. They fit inside, but just go ahead and build up some lords like we do. And then that way, when you go to put the skin on this side, it'll take care of that. But again, don't put skin yet, because we want to test fit these. So we want to test fit all of this. You might end up having to sort of grind maybe some of this. I tried to clearance as much as possible, but we want to test fit these boxes before you close them up on the side. So, but you got to slide them on here, and you're going to slide it on here. So this one's pretty much just make a box. Make sure you get the jigs in the right place. You'll see where there's 3 of these with a bigger flange, and there's 3 of these with a smaller flange. They just alternate. So you got smaller flange. The bigger flange is obviously where the bolt goes. So you'll have 3 bolts there. They line up with the 5/16 holes here. Boom, boom, boom. So you're good to go. And then once those are all set, you can go ahead and put these strips. Now, when they go to put the panels on, we're going to get to the panels in a minute. But when they go to put the panels on, you can see where you usually have a .035 riv nut. And so this angle piece here would be sitting on that. So in order to get this piece to sit nice up against the box, we're just going to have a spacer strip. That way it lifts this above the riv nut, and that way the bolt can screw it down tight to the whole thing instead of tightening just to that weird, just a little teetering thing there. So look for these spacer strips. You'll see those. They have an M on them for main. Pretty much, just real quick, everything with an M on it is for main. That's for the big boy. I went ahead, and to save time, I don't really have a lot of labels on the smaller ones. So just the fact that there's less labeling, plus they're smaller, just means that these are for the smaller ones. So, but again, I suggest getting Jose to route the main first. Just do everything first with the main, and that way you don't have to worry about it. So get this box done, but don't lords the sides yet. And then go ahead and concentrate on this guy. This one's going to be in 3 pieces that you're going to bring together. So you're going to have a mid. I call this one the mid here. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just grab a mid. Let's see. Where's a mid? There you go. So I'm going to call this right here. This is the mid. And then this is the end, just so you know. just like that. So this is the end and this is the mid, and then this is the little in-between part that's going to give it that decorative look. So you're going to make this little box here. You got some jigs right here, mid, and then you're just going to make this little box. And then what you're going to do is take this center piece, which is actually right here, it's turned. And then you can see where these holes here all sort of line up with these holes on the side here. So the idea is that you're going to put this together with these jigs. You're going to put this end piece together with these jigs. And then you're going to bring all three of them together utilizing these rivet points. And you're going to lords them together. And where you can, get the snout in there. Again, you're not putting skins on yet. You can come in from the side and rivet this thing together with lords. And then that way this will be all one unit. And then when it's time, you'll have these two riv nuts here that will go through these holes here on the top. And this whole little section will just slide on, bonk against the frame, frap, frap, just nail those down. Same thing here. So this whole assembly slides on, bonk. That's this thing here. And then that'll just, where those 5/16 go there. That way this will be all set. But that way also when it travels, we don't have ourselves, 68 inches sticking out getting damaged. So these are going to travel up there with just basically like this. You'll have exposed 6x6. This will be finished and painted. This will be permanently on there. They'll have to just kind of figure out, how to stack it on the trailer properly. And then everything else will be removable. Well, of course, the plate will be on there. But everything else, they can go ahead. It'll be kind of field assembly. That way everything's nice and it's light for you guys, or lightish. Anyway. So you got this thing built. So now the idea is once this is a unit, go ahead and slide it on, test fit it with your riv nuts. I went ahead and made little notches so everything slides over when it could clear the riv nuts right there. Slide it on, make sure everything fits. That way, if you have to grind anything, you have access still before but if everything looks good, if everything's good here, slide this box on. If everything's good there, then go ahead and seal it up. Go ahead and take your side panels there, your side skins, and just lords it up. Same thing with these little guys. You got two little skins here and here, and then that'll get those all taken care of. Now you're going to go ahead and lords the strip onto the top, and you can go ahead and shoot your steel riv nuts in there too, and then that will be all finished. Make sure this spacer's on there though before it goes to paint. This way they can paint this spacer. It's meant to be permanent, so make sure it's on there nice and flat and level, because the panels are going to be squishing against that spacer strip. So I'll make sure it's nice and level. But go ahead and get this whole unit done and ready to go. And get this little unit ready to go. Make sure it fits on there and we're good. So now we work down to this little guy and this rod. So the whole idea is that this is going to be a decorative, it's kind of meant to be some sort of, it looks like it's sort of a strap that holds it all together, but we don't really need it to be actual structural. So the whole idea is that you're going to take a piece of 1 inch by quarter wall tubing. I have it down here. And this gives you a 1/2 inch inside. Then what you're going to do is take a 9/16 tap, which we'll be getting in for you. And you're going to just tap one end of it all the way in as much as you can. And then you're going to have a 9/16 bolt. So the whole idea is work backwards from a known hole size and then work backwards to a bolt that you can just use and tap straight in. So 9/16 usually wants a 1/2 inch hole, so it works out perfectly. So now you're going to take that one tapped end and you're going to be able to slide it through this little unit that you're going to make. So this guy is just a bend and a bend. And then you're going to take that 1/8 inch piece of, what's it called? A rod mount, right? This little guy, look for that rod mount. And you're just going to tuck him in. So you're going to bend this 90, and then this is going to be a 045 dog bone. And you're just going to tuck it in there, click. It's going to click in there. And then you can tack it from the bottom or the top, while you can. And then you're going to take the top and you're going to slide it in, and you're going to take the bottom and you're going to slide it in. And you can see where that's the blue right there, right there, and right there. That's the blue. That's the bottom here. And then you're going to take the top. You can see where it goes right here and right here. And you can see where that's where the hole is right there for the rod. So you can see where the rod's going to poke through. It's going to bonk against the plate. And then while this is open, you're going to reach in and they can put a 9/16 threaded, and it's going to thread that rod into this little box unit. And that way it's like, ooh, how'd they do that? Install is just going to slide it in there. So here's how this works though. And then you're going to have this little cover. So you're going to bend this. This is 1, 2, 3. I should give you a little something for that. Let's see, blue. We'll just go ahead and do let's do 1.5 inches. There you go. So you're going to bend this like that. Actually, you know what? This guy can actually be 1, 2, 2. 1, 1, 2. That's how it's going to be bent, like that. Anyway, so this guy here is just going to be a pressure fit. It's going to slide in and just kind of do a cover. You can see where the blue nuggets, it'll just kind of cover it, and it goes down to the bottom there. It's going to slide in, and it's going to make this piece look like one unit. It's going to be great. So here's what I see for all 6 of these. So obviously the small one just has a different version. It's just a little bit smaller, but it's going to be the same 9/16. The only difference is it's going to be 3/4 inch tube with eighth inch wall, but it still gives you that 1/2 inch hole, and you're going to tap it with the same tap, use the same hardware. So you're going to have basically 6 of these assemblies. What I see happening is this whole little unit here can get painted. The rod can get painted. And then for shipping, you're going to go ahead and bolt this on as one unit and then wrap them up nice. That way, all install has to do is go out there, slide this into the hole up top, and you're going to have 4 holes here, and they're just going to go frap into the skin, and then put the cover on, maybe with a little silicone or something, whatever. And it's going to be great. So that looks like I got that one wrong too. We're going to go like that. That's got to be 1, 1, and 2. There you go. Anyway, so if that makes sense. So this is going to be frappable in the field. And like I say, you can go ahead and just put this little end cap on with this nut or in this bolt here, and then just ship them out that way, wrap them up. That way, all they got to do again is just take this rod out, stick it in the hole up there, line up the holes here, do 4 screws. This thing's mounted, and then stick that cover on, like I say, a little dab of silicone or something. And then that takes care of that rod. So I think that's good. I think that makes sense there. Again, it's going to be the same thing. It's just a little smaller for the big boy, or for the smaller ones here, but it's going to be the same thing. So anyway, so once that little whole contraption is ready, let's see, that's good there. This is good. Then I think you're good to go ahead and lords on the whole skins here. That way this will be finished. So once that's finished, that's all good, blah, blah, blah. I think we're good. Yeah, because you'll already have this on there. So now it's the panels. So the panels are kind of separate. They don't necessarily need to be attached to this one. Anyway, so you've got these panels. They're going to be 1/8 inch with a piece of angle up top. That's just going to come straight down and come down this way. And then it's going to be another piece that comes down this way to make it look like somehow it's like bent like that. Like, ooh, how do they do that? So let's go over that. That's on the next page, on the next page of the PDF. So there's not a lot to these. Just make sure they're bent in the proper order. So you're going to grab this again for Jose, route department. These are, 1/4 inch bit, make sure. And then, so you're just going to bend this up 90. You'll be good there. And then you'll make sure though, on this one, we need to make sure that this part is the part that gets bent or gets clamped. I went ahead and tried to hide the clamp under what will be where the washer goes, but just make sure, because I know we're used to clamping the small side, make sure the big side gets clamped. That way these will line up. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to hook these together. So you'll see where this will be where the score mark is on the inside, so that way it's hidden. And then this will be where the score mark is on the inside, hidden there. And so you'll have a Cleco hole here, and you're just going to lords and lords and lords and lords. You're going to make sure that all that is filled. Make sure this is completely filled. I would make a big fillet weld of it and make sure this is completely squished, and then bring these together and let it just squish out really good. And then take a scraper and just scrape that clean. But make sure all of this is just super, super lords, because that way this is going to give it that nice solid monolith feel. And that way it'll be like one piece all the way down. And then we're just going to have on the inside, you're going to lords on these 3 braces on each panel. That just goes on the inside to give it rigidity. And then that's pretty much it. Now you can choose to do this. I might have got a little ahead of myself here. You probably want to do the top part first. You're going to do some lordsing, and you got to deal with these angle pieces here. So you're going to cut the angle pieces. That's part of your Edgar looky here. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I think we want to do. I think I got 3/16 actually on this. Let me see. Yeah, that's 3/16. Let's just grab it right now. So many parts, so little time. Okay, so this is 3/16. See, it's a good thing I don't send anything yet. I do the video. The video helps me review. So you're going to have these 2 pieces of angle here, and you're going to go ahead and use the drill guides, the 2x2 by 3/16. So you choose one side, you'll drill and have 3/8 through. That'll be for the riv nuts. And then the other side, you're going to take the other drill guide. There you go. And this one's going to be for the rivets. So I have it kind of lined out there. You got the rivets and the bolts. So use this one on one side, clamp it, drill it through. And then the other side, drill it through for 3/8. Then what you're going to do is on the inside of the panel, the inside of the bend, you got the bend there. So on the inside of the panel, you're going to lords that on using the holes that I have in the face already. And that way they're all nice and lined up. Cleco it up for yourself. Get it on there nice and lords it up, just because that's going to be all that weight hanging. Then you're going to go ahead and put safety rivets. Go ahead and put countersunk all the way, countersink each one. That way we're nice and safe. And that way this will support this nice heavy face. Like I say, you'll have drilled these through to 3/8, and that way they'll be set up to receive into these riv nuts at the top of the box right there. So anyway, so that's how those panels are going to work. Once you get that done, you're done. Lords the bottom part in there, put the braces, and then take care of that top angle there. And then these are done. These can basically go out to paint separately. Might want to test fit, just make sure all this works. Make sure I'm not drinking too heavily, or I'm not drinking enough. Maybe I need to drink more. So anyway, so that's it for the panels, and then that's going to be pretty much it for these Wayfinders. So there's a lot going on to make it look nice, to make it look all, ooh, how'd they do that? So there's a lot of steps and everything. Just make sure you don't get ahead of yourself. So, and anyway, so the smaller ones, I'm going to do a quick lay of the land, just to make sure you so you can just see it's just more of everything. You got more burn plates. You got more bottom pieces. It's in groups of 5s. You got the same thing, just a little bit smaller mounting plates, but it's still 5/8. You'll have more panels. They're just smaller. The same panel parts. You'll have the same spacers, just smaller. Same drill, jigs and stuff. You got the same rod mounts, except 5 of them. Same thing here, except 5. And same kind of hard candy shell, slide over kind of things. You got some jigs there. But again, I just have it in groups of 5. So just make sure route burns 5 of those. And then you got, thankfully, these are all going to be in one piece. It's easier. You don't have to seam it. It's smaller. It fits on a sheet. But you got 5 sets of those. And you'll also have your skins for everything, 5 sets. So, but again, everything's going to be about the same, but without duplicating a lot of the stuff. Just refer to the big panel for the main big one for this guy to kind of show you everything and all my eyeballs telling you what's up. So anyway, plus you also have the video. So all right, so if you have any questions, hit me up. But yeah, just make sure you bring in the 6x6 by quarter. I did look on industrial metal. They do have it by request, so I would order this up now, get it going, plus the 5/8 aluminum. I don't know if they have that laying around, but it is available on their website. It just says request quote, so they might have to bring it in. I think we have 1/4 by 1, but you'll have to maybe bring some of that in. I know we have 2 by 3/16 angle for sure. So, but anyway, if you have any questions, usually hit me up.